And then they're going to go through the race and give you a layout of the race. As I mentioned, you know, every race is different. It's one of the thrills of adventure racing. But there's certain features that all races will have. There's going to be a trekking or a running section, a paddle section, and a bike section. One of the other features that all races will have is that they're going to have options for you. If you take a look at this race layout, it begins with a quick trek to the canoe put in, and you pick up checkpoint 2 and 3 at the on the canoe. And then there's an optional trek, which means that you would canoe further down the river and get out and pick up some checkpoints 4, 5, 6, and 7. I have to say, just a note on these optional checkpoints. One of the things then that you have to do as a racer is strategize your race and figure out what are you going to do, which checkpoints are you going to get. As a solo racer, I did this solo. I'd never completed a whole course, and I'd sort of gotten it into my mind that the chances of me as a solo racer being able to get every single checkpoint were pretty slim. So I was 95% sure I was going to ignore these 4 checkpoints. And the reason why is I don't really love paddling all that much. It's not my favorite part of racing. I knew that there were a lot of checkpoints later on the bike and on another trekking section. And the river was pretty fast. It was a pretty powerful river, and I knew it was going to be tough to get up and get back. So I was about 95% sure that I wasn't going to pick up those 4 checkpoints. But once I was out there, one of the reasons why I did keep going upriver is nobody was turning around, and I didn't want to be that one chump that had to turn around. Everybody else was going up the river. So to be honest with you, part of it was just that sort of that desire not to be the one person that doesn't go and get those 4 checkpoints. But I did end up clearing this course, and I think it's a really good example of how we often underestimate our abilities. I would have been so frustrated with myself if I had skipped these 4 checkpoints and went and got all the others and then finished with plenty of time to have gotten them. So one of the things that you do want to think about as you're choosing whether or not you're going to get optional checkpoints, ones early on in the race for certain, you're probably going to want to pick those up. Now, clearly the race is yours to do with what you want, but if you can get checkpoints early on, I would say get them. If there's a race like this one that gives you, you know, a score at the end where you only have to get 2 of the points, then go ahead and leave the strategizing here for the end, not early on. My lesson learned was get them while you can, because I did end up getting all of the checkpoints. I never ever would have thought as a solo racer, as an average navigator, that I could clear a course, and I did it. So just something to keep in mind. But route choice is going to be, you know, a given in any race. Where are you going to go? How are you going to get there? And which ones are you going to choose to get? Sometimes there's a trekking section. So let me go back though. So there was this optional trek, and then we paddled back to the TA where we picked up our bikes. And from there, we rode the single track bike section in Island Lake. And then sometimes what race directors will do is they'll have you get off your bike and they'll throw out another foot nav, as was the case here in the December Chill. And in this particular case, you actually got the map while you were out there. Here it is. Here's the map. You can see that it's very little. You want to make sure that you have a good map case. You want to keep your maps dry for certain, especially little ones like these. They're easy to crumble up, and then it's hard to sometimes, when they're so little, discern the features on the map. So make sure that you keep it in a good map case. Keep it nice and dry. Don't crumble it up. And but yeah, so you would be getting some checkpoints or some maps while you're out on the actual course. So after we, where am I here? After we got those checkpoints then, and those were optional again, we were able to go back on the bike and get some optional checkpoints there as well. And this is where, you know, if you, at this point you've gotten all the checkpoints, but you're looking at your watch and you're kind of like, man, I'm running short on time. This is where you really strategize and you say, okay, where is my time better spent? If I'm not a good single track bike rider, if I really enjoy being on foot and hiking through the woods and getting orienteering points, then maybe I skip the bike checkpoints and I try to get more checkpoints on the trek or the orienteering. Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you're like, I'm not very good in the woods with my map and compass yet, but the bike checkpoints seem to be a no-brainer. I just have to ride the trail and I'll be able to pick them up. So I'm going to make sure that I get those. And then if I can pick up 2 in the orienteering section, then I will. Again, it's really about navigating, or excuse me, it's really about strategizing. It's about knowing your time, knowing your pace, knowing your strengths. And it's really taking into factors things like the weather. If the bike trail was really muddy and mushy, it's going to slow you down. It would be a factor to consider. But at that point, you're going to want to strategize and move into the last section, which is the trekking and orienteering, or the score O. It says that you have a minimum of 2 points to be a ranked team. Usually what racers, excuse me, will do is they'll take a look at the map and they'll determine, based on the score O map, they'll determine, what are 2 quick checkpoints I can pick up and make sure that I have plenty of time to get back to the finish here. And then from there, what are some additional checkpoints I can pick up? Now, if you're determined to clear the course, then you definitely want to take a look at this map and figure out, if I'm going to get all of them, what is my best route, and where can I go, and in which direction can I go to make sure that I complete all of the checkpoints. So one of the key factors that I had to learn very early on was taking 2 minutes or 5 minutes even to look at these last O maps. It's very easy to want to grab the map and go, go, go. And Cooper can attest to this. That's what I do. I like to grab the map and go and figure it out on the fly. But it really is worth your time to just take a moment and look at the whole map. Not the first checkpoint you want to go to, but look at all of the checkpoints and really think about how they're related, and which ones make sense to get together and which ones make sense to save towards the end. And to take that 5 minutes to do that will save you a lot of time in the long run. Believe me, that's a lesson that I'm still learning. And then you finish. You make sure that you're back in time. And, this is another part of the best part of the race, because this is where you get to share stories. It's amazing how different everybody's race is.
Guys, do you want to get your bearings?